Hi everybody, Cam Sweet here from the Garage Connection and Central Digger Supply, coming to you today with a video that I have wanted to do for a long time now. We finally got our hands on one of these skid steer loaders from China, and we were able to win one at auction. We got it home, and we're going to take a look at the machine today and just kind of see what's going on with it, talk about it a little bit, because it just got delivered last night. And I cannot wait to see if this was either a great purchase or a complete waste of our time. So stay tuned. So I was looking for information on this machine because there really doesn't seem to be anything out there. Maybe it's because they're new or there haven't been that many of them that have actually come up at auction. But as far as specifications and whatnot, the closest I could get was pulling up some figures off Alibaba. So if you look up KRW232, you'll be able to find a couple of different companies that talk about the machine. Essentially, it's like 3 feet wide. It weighs like 2,400 pounds, and it's meant for medium to small sized adults to drive. My buddy dropped it off. He's 6'3", and it was absolutely hilarious to see him get in and out of this cab. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about kind of the engine, the interior, the quick attach, stuff like that, and then we'll drive it around a little bit so you can just see kind of what's going on with the operation. So this unit is a gasoline powered model. This one happens to be powered by a 2-cylinder Rado 999 cubic centimeter engine. So they advertise this engine over a couple different brands. Duramax is not the Chevrolet kind, but Duramax is an American vendor that carries this engine. The engine itself is not overly powerful. It does stall out a lot, but you know, I guess that's right in line with the single-cylinder Rados. So opening up the back of the unit here, we do have excellent access to the hydraulic pump, the hydraulic fluid cooler, and because the cooler is hinged, you pull out this bolt, that opens up, and you have essentially unlimited access to the back of the machine. We'll go ahead and swing this cooler up out of the way here, or at least as far as it is going to want to go. And we can see here that we have excellent access to all of the components in the engine bay. So there is, of course, our Rado 999. I promise it is not the devil's engine. You can see here that we have the exhaust pipes going up off of our cylinders. It's a very interesting wrinkle belly. It almost feels like it belongs on a Power Stroke. We have a direct coupled hydraulic pump here, and as you can see, this is not the normal style pump that we've found on a lot of our mini excavators and skid steers. This one is significantly different, and we have the suction coming in over here. We have a discharge for the hydraulics, and then this is what's going to power the pilot controls. If you also look, we have a hydraulic fluid cooler and oil filter assembly here. So cooler with a big fan, and then we have our oil filter assembly. So this unit does have that factory. And keeping in line with most of the other large Rado engines, over here is an oil cooler, all right, because this is a pressurized lubrication system. On the driver's side of the machine is the hydraulic fluid tank. And over here on the right, or the passenger side, is the gas tank. And these can be filled from this access right here and the accompanying one on the other side of the machine. There's a fill right around here for the hydraulic fluid. All right. Now, a couple other things we're going to note here. This plate does come off. So if you take this off, it does hinge. I can't promise you how easy it's going to be with the muffler right there. But if you do need to work on the machine, it is easy enough to get access to everything. Coming around to the front of the machine here, we see that we have a rather, by Chinese standards, a rather nice interior here. This one happens to have the shit brown color option, or as I like to call it, the King Ranch, right? The other one that I won at auction that I didn't tell my wife about happened to be a black interior. So we've got 2 pilot controls right here. We have a safety cage, and I promise when you go to get in it, this thing or this one will be sticking up just like this and surprise the hell out of you. And when you close these, you're actually making the contact on this switch here that allows the pilots to turn on. So you can't accidentally move the machine. So inside the machine here, we've got a nice little dashboard assembly up here. So we have, this is the fan for the hydraulic cooler. We have overhead lights. We have a parking brake, which is essentially just a control lockout. You've got the flashy beacon, and you've got hazards. Okay, we got the key switch right here. The throttle is located on this side. It has the same style ratcheting throttle. And then if we turn here, way down here, we got the choke. And between the operator's legs is the battery cutoff switch. Now this does require you to push it in and turn it to energize and de-energize. Up on the dash, if you will, we got a fuel gauge, we have a temperature gauge, and I'm not quite sure what's going on with the odometer. It might be an hour meter, but at any rate, you know, this is what to expect out of this machine. I mean, the overall construction of the machine seems pretty good. You have rather decent visibility and access, and driving it is quite enjoyable. Now the main cab of the machine is also on these big hinges right here, and it's a little bit unusual to actually unfold it, but essentially what you have to do is you pull this bolt and you pull this bolt, and then you have to undo the bolts that hold the pilot control towers up. And what that allows you to do is tip these forward, and then you can raise the cab up, and there's a big gas strut that actually holds it up for you, which I think is a pretty nice touch, and it kind of speaks to the forethought that was present here when they were building this thing, about knowing that, you know, you're going to need to work on it, and let's make that as easy as we can for the end user. So what we are going to do, we're going to start it up, we're going to raise the arm up, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the sort of weird controls that are on this machine. So let's go ahead and battery switch, turn the power on, give it some choke, a little bit of throttle, a little bit of throttle. Okay, so I hope you can hear me okay, but essentially what we have here is we have control on either side of this. This one is going to do your scoop, and this is going to do your arm. As you can see, it does lift very high, almost to a dangerous point. We have full dump there. And then we can go ahead and move these forward and back. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to move the machine over here, and I want you to just see sort of how it moves, and some of the things that I think need to be improved. The biggest one is the jumpiness of the controls. This unit does suffer the same fate as some of the Mini X's. Ice cream truck got me. Anyways, yeah, this thing suffers kind of the same symptoms as a lot of the Mini excavators, where they're very jumpy. The controls are very erratic movements, and in my opinion, the joystick controls don't make sense. The way that the bucket, dump, and scoop is as opposed to the arms, I don't think it's laid out very well, but it is hydraulic pilot, so that is easy enough to switch around if you wanted to. So what I'll do, I'll just pull the machine up, I'll kind of go up, down, do some loops, and just, you know, show you, hopefully I don't flip it over, just really show you what it's kind of capable of. I hope I don't run over a chicken. And there's the stall. Another stall. So as you can see, it is a little bit jumpy and sort of abrupt with its movements. My friend has also had one of these machines. I purchased it, and essentially before I even got it off the trailer, he bought it off me. He has taken the time to mess with the pilot controls on this, and what he told me is essentially he was able to get it significantly smoother by a couple of adjustments inside the hydraulic assembly. So that is something that I'm going to be looking into, because as it is right now, this machine is fantastic if you're in a wide open space and you don't need very detail oriented work. I think that for the money that it is, it's almost impossible to beat. These are hammering for around $6,000 to $8,000 at the auctions, and you know, a Bobcat S70 is like 30 grand. So I'm not saying this is an S70. I'm just kind of putting it in context of the amount of money you're spending versus what you're getting. Some things that definitely need to be improved aside from the controls: the tires are too skinny. I do love the fact that they're airless, but the tires definitely either doubled up or wider tires would really change the overall look of this machine and feel and everything like that. You know, it does have auxiliary hydraulic hookups. I would assume that they're going to work just fine. The control for that is actually between your feet. So there's a little pedal that you hit back and forth, and it controls the auxiliary hydraulic hookups. The lifting strength of the machine, from what I could tell, I had a very large stump in my yard that I've been trying to get rid of for a while. None of the mini excavators would lift it. None of the mini skid steers would lift it. This lifted it like it wasn't even there. So I would say that very comfortably with a set of pallet forks, this machine lift well over 1,000 pounds. So if you are at all concerned about that, rest assured it is more than strong enough to do that. Servicing it looks extremely easy. Looks like it's easy to get to all the components for it. Manuals and literature on how you actually service it is essentially non-existent, but I'm sure that's going to be coming down the line. So, you know, I wanted to get this information out there as soon as I could, because these things are really intriguing, and I know a lot of people wanted information on these and they haven't been able to find any. So I bought one. Here it is. I recommend buying one if you get the chance. They do make a diesel version. I think it's called a JK35. I would definitely be going after that one. But at any rate, so that's going to do it for right now. Cam Sweet here from the Garage Connection. Please stay on those projects.